Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message that follows is vital to the future of you all.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Vital to the future of all of us, because who knows? Who knows what messages from beyond may filter through? You know, that's actually what happens. I don't know what I'm going to say. After a second, I have a rough idea which way I'm going to go. Actually, there are quite a few things I would like to talk about tonight. Please remind me if I forget. I would like to talk about Bernie Summerfield, right? I've listened to her last box set with David Warner, and it is awesome, awesome. It is. It's the best thing they've ever done. I'm not even joking. Okay, I've been listening to Big Finish from the beginning, right? From Oh No It Isn't. That's their first release way back in the 90s, right? And that was Bernie Summerfield. I liked it straight away, right? I could tell the professionalism of them, you know, straight away. I knew all the people making it from audio visuals, right? Oh, that is good coffee. Mwah! I knew the people making it from audio visuals, the fan group, but it was at another level, and I like that it was a you know, the Virgin New Adventures, which was what's charting Doctor Who forward at the time, was very rad, man. Yeah, let's have boobies, rad. It kind of was like that. I mean, I look back at them now, and they're very like adolescent. I didn't know at the time, right? Now they're just very angsty, a lot of them. I mean, they're fun. It's a fun era, but boy, it's a bit sweaty, right? You know. Anyway, great era. I love the New Adventures. I really, really do. It's one of my favorite eras. Anyway. So the Oh No It Isn't was born out of the New Adventures. When they lost the license, essentially, they went off and did Bernie stuff, right? And that's what and then Big Finish wanted to do Doctor Who, but they needed to show them a resume, so they did. They licensed Bernie Summerfield and did a season of that. And they weren't even on CD, right? You could only get them on double tapes, man. Oh man, I'm dating myself, right? I remember getting them. I was in America at the time, working in working in a rabbinical seminary in Miami, and just hating it, right? Just hating every moment of my life. Yeah, that was kind of miserable. Anyway, what was I going to say? That threw me off, man. I just visceral how much I hate it. Oh yeah, Virgin New Adventures, right? So I've been with this character in every form, basically, from the beginning. I was reading the New Adventures when she was introduced, right? I know Bernie Summerfield very well, right? It's weird, like what's her name? Lisa Bauman. I've never met her, right? But I realized she's been part of my life for most of it. It's the weirdest thing. It's so true. She has been part of my life for most of it. It's very disturbing when you think about that. And I'm like, I'm like watching her career. Anyway, so I know the character very well. This is the best thing they've done. I'm not even joking. It is so good. We'll look at it later. It's essentially the David Warner Doctor. The David Warner Doctor in pre-Nazi Germany, right? In the early 1930s or late 1920s Germany, right? And there's a cyber invasion going on, right? And so the cyber, iconography, just it all matches. It all really works together. And it's so the setting's very good. And these 4 scripts are awesome, right? They are awesome beyond awesome. So impressed with it, right? I don't want to do a full review now, but it was very good. So I have to talk about what I think they should do with the future of the range. What else do we have to talk about? Yeah. I want to talk about, was the election stolen, and it depends how you define it, right? And obviously YouTube, I'm not alleging electoral fraud, right? It depends how you define it, which is an interesting question, right? Well, there's a few things going on. I'm just saying on the barest level, mail-in balloting and ballot harvesting. A ballot harvesting is basically, somebody go around and says, hey, fill out your form, fill out your ballot, do that. And she's like, oh, just do it for me, right? And they're fine, just sign it. Now, they're all legitimate ballots, right? But what's going on there is a bunch of those people would normally not vote. Why is the Democrat voter turnout suddenly at basically 100%, right? Because of universal mail-in balloting and ballot harvesting. So why are the Republicans doing it? I think they think it's wrong, right? From what I can tell, right? They're still a bit stunned. I mean, that certainly went on, in this election. The one I'm really watching is Carrie Lake. It's like, I'm sorry. Here, let me show you this thing. And I'm sorry I smell BS, but what do you want me to tell you? Yeah, I smell like, okay, 1 second. Now, Twitter warned me before I went to look at this article. I'll warn you now. Say, fact checkers might not like this. So I cannot confirm the veracity. Maricopa election officials launched PAC in 2021 to stop MAGA candidates. Now, I recognize these guys, right? I've seen them in the news recently when the machines broke, going, let's go, everything's fine, don't need to worry, everything's okay. Maybe it is. But if this headline is true, you needed to recuse yourself because now you're under suspicion. Right? I'm sorry. That's just the way it is, mate. It's like, here's the thing. They act like they're saints. Right? Us Democrats do anything wrong? Are you crazy? What? Never. What about the Trump-Russia collusion hoax? April Fool. Nobody remembers that. You're right. We don't, but we should. Yeah, it's like was it 5/29? Is it 5/29? Lisa, I don't even know the date. Does anyone remember that? No, not really. No. It's crazy. It's crazy. Things get memory hold, man. Things get memory hold. So yeah, ballot harvesting, right? So it seems. My hope was, well, here I look at everything from a theological point of view, right? So I saw the buyout of Twitter, like Elon's takeover of Twitter. I saw the very favorable election results for me in Israel, and what else? Ross D. Davis, who I know a lot of you disagree with. James Gunn, who I think just everybody agrees is good news. I'm sorry. No one's going, oh shit, no, James Gunn's in control of DCU. No, we're all happy about it, okay? That's a very good case scenario. It could be J.J. Abrams. It was J.J. Abrams. Now it's James Gunn. Thank God. Just shut up and take whatever he's going to give you. I think it might even be good. Hey, James, mate. Get in touch with Guillermo del Toro, see if you can get into that Constantine movie. Right? He wanted to do Justice League Dark. I think now's the time. Guillermo del Toro's Justice League Dark. Oh, now is the fucking time for that. I saw, I've only seen the first 1.5 episodes of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet de Curiosities. Right? So, first one was reasonably crap. Second one is a bit gross. There's these giant rat eating you. I'm like, I don't want to see a giant rat. Leave me alone. Like, I want sexy fantasies. I want Dust till Dawn, that sort of thing. I want to go, ooh, jiggly, something like that. But no. But yeah. So that's good. So I took it as that it was a sign, right? That the wall of evil, entombing reality, was starting to crumble, and one mighty punch, it would shatter. That mighty punch delivered, of course, by Carrie Lake's hand. But no, that did not happen. I said it wouldn't go down easy, but I didn't see it going down like this. But so anyway, yeah. So you have this ballot harvesting and universal mail-in balloting. It seems to be there is no quality of candidate that can overcome that, right? I'm sorry. You had a guy with brain damage win. I mean, he was running against a piece of shit. Okay, you go for brain damage over piece of shit. I don't know. I mean, the brain damage guy was also racist. But that was that. Was it Fetterman? He chased a black guy with a shotgun because he didn't like the cut of his jib. And I'm not making that up. What's that guy doing it? And that happened. And he won. After he had brain damage, right? So that indicates to me that there is no candidate under any circumstances that could possibly overcome that. And frankly, this thing they're talking about, should DeSantis, there's a big push for DeSantis to take the nomination. And it's there if he wants it. He should let it go, mate. He should let that go. Because there's no way anybody can win. Again, with this universal mail-in voting, and on top of that, there's a bunch of dodgy stuff coming out. I'm sorry. They have one college campus where it was 96% against Carrie Lake, and maybe, they did get that, say they're going to get that student debt paid off. And then the next day it said, "Oh no, screw you." It was like the day after the election. So, are they legit? Is that stealing an election? They're legitimate votes. They say, "Oh, fill it in." No, Democrat, right? That's how they do it, right? There's no way of overcoming that, right? It doesn't matter I was listening to crowd who's like saying, "No, we're in a good position for 2024." I'm like, "No, you're not. No, you're not." Honestly, if the Republican Party was smart, and they're not, they would dump behind Trump. I'll tell you exactly why. Firstly, I'm a Trumpster. I like Trump. I find him entertaining, and I like him. But essentially, I think he's right about most things. He does stupid things. I think attacking DeSantis was a dumbass thing to do. Right? Don't understand that, but I haven't understood a lot of stuff he's done. Basically, I like what he did, how things worked out. Would have loved seeing a Trump without having to fight a civil war at the same time. Anyway, but so if anybody's got if DeSantis got any intelligence, he'll see what's going on. He says there's no way anybody could win with the universal mail-in ballot. That's why he ended it in Florida, right? And they had and you have to go and show an ID, right? You've got to give a shit enough to go and vote, right? And once you take that out, you decimate the Democrat vote. It's like, and that's what's going on. And again, things couldn't be any worse. They're going to be. Don't get me wrong. Things could. They couldn't be any worse now. They're going to be a lot worse. But they're very bad. They're the worst they ever been, right? Didn't make any difference, right? Their candidates literally had brain damage. Didn't make any difference. Or hid in a basement and refused to debate. Didn't make any difference, right? Was in charge of counting the vote. Didn't make any difference. That made a difference. Gotta laugh. What's going to be? I don't know. But it's weird. Honestly, I've said this many times before, and I've been wrong many times before. Right? It's like darkest before the dawn. And I think this is really some of the darkest it's been. I'll tell you why. Because for some reason, we had hope that we could overwhelm this system and then reset the balances, right? We had hope that we could do that. But again, if Carrie Lake didn't win, then we don't. Right? That's the point, right? If she didn't win, then there is no hope, right? It's I don't know. Look, thankfully, I don't think. Thankfully, no one's going to listen, are they? But there's a lot of this tabulation that looks a bit dodgy, and from a lot of dodgy stuff. Might all be kosher. I'm sorry, it might be kosher, but it's not like you got the best track record, mate. I mean, it's not like you're like, oh yeah, no, we certainly didn't lie about the Hunter Biden laptop. Right? No, we certainly didn't lie about Russian collusion for years. No, we didn't do that. No. Well, we did a bit. Oh, and everything else for years. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? You lied up everything all the time. And you're like, are you questioning our integrity? Yes, fuck you. Yes. Okay. If you rule out everybody who said that Russian collusion was real, and what was the other thing there? And Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, which everybody knew these were lies, right? Rule all them out. You don't have a leg to stand on. You've like lost most people, right? Once you said that, you've disqualified yourself as a voice. But they just act like it didn't happen. Like for them, Jesse Smollett didn't happen. They're like, no. Oh, don't be ridiculous. Us? Lack integrity? By the way, yeah, you can sterilize your children and commit suicide. Us? Lack morals? Yeah, I'll have to go. We've got to go to the toddler drag show, right? It's little Timmy's time to suck the cock. Oh, little Timmy. Oh, he doesn't like it, but he'll get used to it. Feel the back of my hand. And again, I wish that was parody, but that's actually the world we live in. Or feel the back of my hand might be a bit much. Anyway, how about Anna de Armas? As Romana. Oh, and perfect. Oh, I mean, the only trouble is, look, listen. Romana should be very, very spankable. Okay, that's a very important trait, and it's a very classy spankable, right? Oh god, I want to watch Blade Runner again now. She is insanely sexy, Anna de Armas, right? Just insanely sexy. I'll tell you why. Because she likes being feminine. Oh, tell you. It's like, a rare bloom in a desert. And she's great. She's great at being feminine and kick-ass, right? It's really weird, when she does. And she's fine with objectifying herself because she's fine with whipping her clothes off. And we're fine with you doing it, darling. I mean, I shoots. She seems to be. When I see her being interviewed, right? She was more worried about having a haircut in Blade Runner than being naked. Conan O'Brien did comment on that. But there's something that's not object. I mean, it's funny. She's sexy without being objectified. I think she's like an empowering sexy, right? It's very cool. And again, she's very good at being kick-ass as well. She's a great actress. I mean, I love that AI character she played in Blade Runner 2049. I thought it was one of the best bits of it. You really cared about about that character. So hers Romana. Yeah, I mean, look, I always say Romana should be like an English Rose, but I can see Anna de Armas as a Romana. Yeah, that'd be a very Mediterranean Romana. That'd be awesome. Yes, Anna de Armas as Romana. Yeah, who's that? Jordan Lee? Fuck yes. Okay, Jordan Lee. 100% yes. We all agree. Anna de Armas as Romana. In fact, why isn't it happening yet? That's very weird, right? That will be in my spank bank as of tonight. Okay, I just want you to know. And we're going straight to make that deposit. Let me tell you, baby. Actually, I'll be making withdrawal. But Milford is here. Let me throw out some mic out if I'm going to get to the chat. What am I doing? I'm sorry. I just saw a thumbnail we got coming up. By By the way, go and follow me on Instagram. I'm on the Instagrams now. Here, can I find it where it is? Here. 1 second. I go here. Doink. I think. Oh yes, here is my Instagram. I am Instagram / Rabbi from Another Planet. You know, so it's not. I'll admit it's not very inventive. But follow me on the Instagrams. I like Instagram actually. Yeah, it's really kind of working for me. I've only been on it a day, right? But I like the. I'm going to be I like doing reels, but also I think I'm going to be doing longer form content there as well. Once they have Twitter Blue in Israel, that content's going on Twitter Blue, mate. Right? I like getting into different, into different markets, mate. Oh, he likes to get about. He does. Oh, yes, he does, darling. Oh, yes, he does. Yeah, so it's a bit of a look at some the thumbs coming on this one did make me laugh. Oh, we got to the Paul McGann's story tonight. Yes, don't make me forget that one. That's important. And then Neil Gaiman and Chris Eccleston. Shit, we got a lot to. I also want to get to Dave Chappelle. I don't know. He's not anti-Semitic. Leave me alone. I'll listen to it, but I don't think he's anti-Semitic. So yeah, this actually might actually be happening. It actually might. I'm not even fucking around with you. It actually might be happening. I don't know how, but it might be. It will. It's not as impossible as it used to be. You'll just be feeding in the capitalist systems of oppression, and that'll be £235 for an autograph and selfie, please. Love you, Chrissy, mate. Love you, Chrissy. So yeah, we'll talk about the McGann spin-off. Neil Gaiman, not good for you, mate. Not good for you. Sorry. Unlucky for some. Neil Gaiman. Chris Eccleston rails against the and enjoys the evils of capitalism. I'm sure he will. Anyway, this is what we've got coming up. This was actually from my live stream a couple of days ago, and I was going to put it out as a supplementary video, but I've decided instead that's going to be my main video day. But my new content will be my review, which I hope will be a bit more in depth for the latest Bernie Summerfield set, which is awesome. Right? Again, I just hate how awesome it is. But look at this. Isn't this great? I love this thumbnail. Oh, yeah. I mean, I use one of those filters to make a painted David Tennant, but it looks like this fits right in there. What's going on there? It says TV Action Comics 2022. The 14th Doctor comic strip plans revealed. And first adventure reviewed as the strip becomes canon, sort of. Stand by for action, and it really does have that kind of filter. But this is what I'm looking forward to putting out. How Doctor Who got an upgrade? Oh. How Doctor Who got an upgrade? The inside story of introducing the 14th Doctor by Rusty Davis, David Tennant, and more. I can feel my ratings go up. I bet you can, David. I bet you can. I do. Here's the trouble. I get in trouble a lot by taking the piss. But the problem is I'm just so fucking good at it. I'm just like a master at taking the piss, mate. I don't know what to tell you. Fine, let me get to the chat. Anyway, Jordan Lee, Anna Dharma says Ramada. Yes. On behalf of planet Earth, and at very least the Jewish people, I accept. That would be lovely. Oh, is she Jewish, Anna Dharma? That would make it even hotter. Okay. Oh, we're going to have to look that up. I remember Scarlett Johansson got hotter when she was Jewish. I don't know why, but that's just me for you. Okay, we have a fetish going on. I don't want to tell you. Some people like feet. I don't understand that. I like my sisters. What can I tell you? Mark Milford is here. How you doing? Matt the Silent. Eki thumped you, sir. Darren M is here. How you doing? Mr. Jacqueline Hyde is here. I hope you're well this evening. Whizzing through. Paul Tosin is here. Evening also, says Paul Tosin. Evening all back to you, my good sir. There's a lot going on. A lot of J-Pods seem, I don't know. Are they? It's just like, aren't they dying now? I thought they were kind of like at the end of what's it called again? 48 days later, 42 days later, 48 hours later. I don't know, whatever that movie, 72 days later, right? Or 72, where they were like laying down and just dying from starvation after running out of people to eat. Right? Isn't that what's going on with them now? That was the kind of vibe I got. I don't know. I just don't see them so much anymore. Right? But the vibe I get is help me, I'm melting. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, darling. And you should, and so say all of us. Proof ID seems a sensible idea. What do I know? Like, here's the thing. And the Democrats, this is what the crowd was saying, and he was absolutely right. The Democrats are prepared to flip the table, right? Flip over wanting ID. Motherfucker! No! Ah! Well, dude, this is a weird thing. When did that rule change? I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? People are weird. Julian S is here. How you doing, Julian S? I hope thank you for joining us. Afternoon to you, sir. TARDIS time is here. Trump was better president than Brandon. So I mean, look, it's not hard, is it? You can get at this point, you can get a sponge. You know, it will be better. Like, man, there has been no president in anywhere close to as bad as Biden. Right? He's insane. How dare you speak about Ramon like that? How dare you? I'm a dirty mind and pervert. I am a dirty mind and pervert. How do I dare not be? I mean, be who you be, baby. Listen. Look, here's the truth. I'm a very lustful person. It's just, I don't know how to sugarcoat that for you. I just am. I don't touch anyone, if that makes you feel better. I don't like, if somebody says, please don't be lustful after me, I will say, well, it depends. I have to tell you, it depends. I mean, if you're like, somebody who is like monetizing their sexuality, no. And I would say maybe whether she wanted to or not, Scarlett Johansson was at one point. Paul McGann is so nice to me. I bet you he is. The Shadow knows. You're thinking you met Paul McGann at a con a few years back. Roman of the Empire. You keep posting interesting stuff. I have to tell you, Roman of the Empire. I become intrigued by you. All right, I keep wanting to follow your stuff. Can anybody like make you a mod so you can post links to your things, because they always sound interesting, right? You have one about the prison. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to catch that. So please, post a link to that. That sounds really good. Mark the Vicar is here. How you doing, Mark the Vicar? Thank you for joining us. Oh, there, I put my Instagram up. Look at that. There we go. Soda Ranger's here. He is tired. Is John Cox like? Who knows? I tried hard to ruin this sci-fi show, and now Disney's doing it for me by taking it under with. It's just, I still think it's going to be good, mate. Unhinged is here. I'm here for the eye candy, Rabbi. You're here for the eye candy. That is, Rabbi. I understand, baby. Listen. People want me and they're willing to pay. It's just the way it is. Lonnie, how you doing here, Mr. On Comics? Thank you for joining us. I remember once I was at a kiddish and I said that. And I said, women want me and they're willing to pay. Right? And I was kidding. And like the guy next to me, his brain exploded. Like, what? How? What? It's like, what? The kiddies is when you go around to somebody's house for a wee, l'chaim, a wee tipple and some herring and some cake. And we've just there said, look, it's true. Women want me and they're willing to pay. And it just blew his mind. Bless him. Cal Lynch is here. Oh, the horror. Jodie wasn't even the best female doctor. Bless her little socks. No, she wasn't. Right? No, she wasn't. Fine. Okay, over there. Fine. I'm up to date. What should I do first? Fine. We'll do Dave Chappelle first, right? I think that's the most interesting. So that is Dave Chappelle. Was he being anti-Semitic on Saturday Night Live? Let's watch it together, and I'll tell you. Right, I'll tell you. I doubt it. You know, I tell you, I'm a big Dave Chappelle apologist. So there you go. Yeah, honestly, I'm not even disagreeing with him. Right, I think it's a fair supposition. Right, it is a fair supposition. Especially, listen, if you come in with a prejudice anyway, right, and it's your only experience with Jews, right? It's like the only type of Jew you know. Yeah, okay, I hear it. He's basically having his friends back. That's what I can tell. He hasn't said anything that I think is anti-Semitic.
But it's a crazy thing to say out loud, and I kind of like this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's absolutely right. That's fascinating. Okay, fine. So here's my take on this. My take is it's the same for much of conflict, right? Much of conflict is by a confused understanding of threat. Yeah, it really is. Like a lot of people have got in conflict with me because they thought they just scared. I made people nervous, right? I made people very upset, and they're like, I understand. I think honestly, being honest is like a superpower when nobody else is, right? And it's just like, I don't understand why not be honest. But okay, people have a big problem with being honest. But anyway, that's beside the point. It's like this. There's this bit in the Bible, right, where you see there's a bunch of times, right, where you juxtapose the Israelites to the non-Jews surrounding them. Right, and always the non-Jews look at the Israelites like these giants. They're terrified of them, right? They're like, they're going to destroy us, right? Right. At the same time, the Israelites are always looking at themselves like they're tiny, like they're ants, right? And that's still true today, right? You know, Jews feel like they're small, right? They feel like their backs against the wall and they're small in number, right? But like they terrify the world. They do. It's like, look, everyone's terrified of the Jewish army, right? The Israeli army. If you had any idea, right? How it's run, oh my god, right? And still, it's run pretty well. But if you had any idea, oh my gosh, it's the same. So it's like that with him, right? He had a perception of Jews to be this thing, and he may not even meant all Jews. I'm being an apologetic for him, right? And I hope he understands it's not all Jews. It's like it's a really it's the average percentage of any Jew is as a organized criminal class, right? And I think what the stuff that went down was pretty awful. Like he was misdiagnosed purposely, right? To drug him, right? Same thing happened to Dave Chappelle. Right, that's why he left his contract at for the Chappelle show, because they were literally drugging him. Right, I'm not even joking. Man, I left these two apps open. Wow, my computer is so freaking good, right? I have these two major power sucking apps running, and I didn't even notice. Wow, that's incredible. That blows me away. Fine, let me pull up the next thing. Doink. So that's my take on the Dave Chappelle thing. Yeah, I do not think he's anti-Semitic. I understand where it's coming from. I would feel much better if Kanye could talk to a Jew, publicly that and in a way that I could believe it, right? And understand that it wasn't necessarily a representative sampling, of the Hebraic people, right? To of the trials and tribulations that he went through, right? It really genuinely it isn't, right? Yeah, let me get this thing. Doink. Fine. Do a bit of share screen. Share screen. Doink. Here we are, Bernie Summerfield. Okay, so the Bernie Summerfield round is something I've been with for a long time, right? I talked about this at the beginning, how much I love Bernie Summerfield. I've been with it since the very, very first release. I know this character extremely well, right? I was there when the character was invented in the Virgin New Adventures. I've listened to all of the audio adventures. I haven't read all the books. The Big Finish, it got kind of annoying because they kind of interwove in one stage. But I listened to all the audios. I've read a lot of the new adventures, and so I know this character very well, right? It's been with me for, I don't know, since the 90s, like a long time, like a long freaking time. This is probably the best Bernie Summerfield audio that's come out. This is probably the creme de la creme. If you want to try one, this is one to try. It's expensive. They're expensive now. $35 for download. Man, that's expensive, right? I'm glad I pre-ordered this. See, I've been trying to catch up listening with Big Finish recently because I told myself if I can catch up, which means I still got to listen to the Master Nemesis Express, which I hear isn't very good, but I got to do that. Then I will buy the Seventh Doctor set, which does kind of intrigue me, right? But I got to catch up, right, before I lay out the. It's so bloody expensive this stuff now. But this one is a serious recommend. It is freaking-tastic, right? So Bernie Summerfield has been through many, many, many different revamps, right? Many, many, many different versions. My favorite one is actually one of the early ones. We have a video. Yeah, is there a video will come with it? Fine. Yeah, we'll watch the video in a sec. There's been it's been rebooted of Lunchtime. Right now, she's flying around with a alternative third Doctor in the shape of David Warner. And this is the final set because he passed away sadly. And this is the brilliant idea. It's called Blood and Steel. And it's set in was it the early 30s or the late 20s, early 30s Berlin at the rise of fascism. At the same time, there's a cyber invasion, like a creeping cyber invasion going on, right? So just the setting in itself is perfect, right? It's absolutely perfect, and you see like the cyber symbol, right, on the white on the red flag, the fascist flag. It's so good, right? And it all works really well. So the setting is very clever, right? You sound like it could be entering real grown territory. Not at all. These scripts are freaking awesome, right? And they get better as they go along. This is really excellent, mature science fiction, right? So, and this one is where it's David Warner is sort of Bernice's sidekick as opposed to vice versa, but they both feel like each other is the sidekick. And they're the main character. That's how he plays it. He's described it, he plays it like a hungover Hartnell, right? So he's kind of this grumpy, like, what's bloody going on? And also brilliant and kind and moral and strong. And also like somewhat morally manipulative, but like in a kinder way than Sylvester McCoy was. All right, so that his Doctor, it's a beautiful portrayal, and this is particularly his best set because he has some absolutely beautiful speeches in this about life and free will. There's also it's beautifully directed, and the sound design is fantastic as well because it echoes in and out famous cyber sounds that like the. From what's the word? Invasion. The pulse, that pulse that makes everybody go to sleep. Right, you hear that. There's in the music, there's a kind of like cyber march feel to it. And it all works perfectly, right? It's all matures together, like matches together perfectly. Again, but this is very much Bernie Summerfield, which is I find this mature science fiction, which is a lot of fun at the same time. And it deals with heavy ideas and it's not preachy, which I was worried that it would be, but it is absolutely beautiful. So here, let's go through the stories. We have here 1930s Berlin, the party before the end of the world. City laughs at the gathering storm. The location of the mysterious alien signal. Bernie, Sonnenfeld, and Doctor investigate. What are the Sidemen doing in Berlin? Who is the ancient Vril? And what horrors lurk beneath the city's most famous nightclub? Yeah, so many. Again, it hits so many of the tropes of like pre-war Berlin, right? Pre-World War II Berlin, like the decadence. There's a lot of cabaret going on. Like you really get that feeling. And again, I have no idea who these writers are. I think they're all new and they're all fantastic. They all do a really good job. And yeah, the interesting thing is, I think a lot of them think they're commenting on Trump or people like saying, people who follow Trump, people who like Trump, rather when really I would say, the totalitarianism of the day is left wing and quite frighteningly so. But yeah, that's but it still works though, because because it's a story. It's about story first, right? And we've said this over and over again, but it really is. This one is about story first, and the story is brilliant, and the story illustrates, I think, what they want to be talking about in life. And again, it's absolutely brilliant. So, episode 1 is by James Goss. I think James Goss is script is Scott Hancock and James Goss. Scott Hancock also is a big mover and shaker now in Cardiff. But yeah, okay. So the script editors, I guess they're like and James Goss is the producer. So I guess James Goss is essentially the producer, right? The director, the creative oversight of the box set. And if he is, it's fantastic, right? Absolutely fantastic. The idea is great, but again, the scripts inside the stories are fantastic. So why do the Sidemen wish to say people of Berlin? So again, you put very much into that, pre-World War II Berlin, right? So you got the decadence, you got these people like just desperate to get to Berlin. They wanted to, and they slept rough on the outskirts of in woods, right? And you have a lot of that. You have the club life of Berlin. Put in the middle of this is Bernie Sonnenfeld and David Warner. Bernie Sonnenfeld and the Doctor, David Warner's Doctor. And David Warner's there. He's there quite manipulatively. So look, we got to be here. And she's like, "Oh, they're the bad people," right? Blah 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 blah. But it doesn't take long before they move away from the the stereotypical view of Germans of that era, right? It starts to get more layered. The head of the cabaret is fantastic in this. And then when you first going to get to the cyber plot, right, and you see what's happening, really chilling, really nicely chilling. Again, knocking out the park. It's fantastic, right? Second story is Wolf by Aaron Lamont, right? And I wanted to not like it because I wanted to say it's a new writer, it's going to be woke and it's going to be crap. And Bernice and the Doctor don't show up for a long time, right? A long time. So this is a story of one of the characters from the first episode that's become a partly cybertized, and he's run home. He was one of the runaways who ran away from him to me in Berlin. So he's run back home, but he's basically a Cyberman now, right? And it's how he like reintegrates with his life, or doesn't, as the case may be. A young man returns home. Will he save his village or will it save him? A bit of both. There's a lot of Frankenstein going on in this. That they got that. You got that nice what's the word? Not fauvist. Industrialist. Like that. It fits the era, right? It's that type of story. Again, that like what's I going to say? Industrialization meeting rural life, right? And that tension within. That's basically where it's from, which I think comes from a trying to replicate the story of the time. It's a very nice personal story as well. Again, we get to see how the fascism rose in Germany in the 1930s, right? And it's nowhere near as insidious as has been portrayed before. And it's much before that, it's much better. It's much stronger. It actually said something, right? It's clever, right? It is clever. Ubermensch by Roshana Patel, again, new writer, was already on board. I was like, this can't be a good one too. That would be crazy, right? If this is good one too, and it's a good one too, right? So the Doctor joins the a German archaeological expedition with Bernice, right? It's essentially Tomb of the Cybermen in Berlin, right? They find there's a cyber tomb that's like embedded within the within Berlin, like there's a seed that's been growing, and so you got this this wonderful juxtaposition of like fascist ideals with cyber ideals and how they mesh. But again, imagine Tomb of the Cybermen played with genuine fascists, right? And how attractive they would find the logic being, right? And how much they would want to be cybertized, right? And you're getting an idea. It's again really clever, a really clever, nice plot. And it's a fun adventure as well, right? You get carried away with it, right? That's the other thing. It's nicely led in that it's fun. Bernie Summerfield stuff is normally fun as it gets more angsty. And the final part, Auf Wiedersehen by Victoria Saxton, also new writer, also knocking out the park. It's more of a low-key finale, really. It's a finale. It's a season finale that you'll get in like a 1970s TV, British TV show. So it's like more emotional high stakes as Bernice is on the run and the Doctor's being tempted by being trying to be willingly made into a Cyberman. A grotesque parody of the cabaret from the early one, earlier story with like cyberized cabaret, and being reasonably horrific. Outstanding performance from David Warner as a towering strength of morality. Also, some great lines. I think it was it Ubermensch. They had you forgot that this is like a alternative third Doctor, and it says it's Cybermen. It says, "Oh, Cybermen, why are they still bothering? What should we call this one? 7-0." Right when you go, oh right, it has been like 6-0. There has only been about 5 cyber stories at the time. But it kind of is funny that way. Again, that's kind of his Doctor. But he also has beautiful speeches about the nature of life and morality and choice, right? Absolutely, really, it's one. This is really the best, really. And again, you have Bernie Summerfield woven through this. So 10 out of 10, right? 10 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic. So the question is, where does the Bernie Summerfield range go from here? Right, because I know from an actual insider has told me that these things only sell if they can put a Doctor on them, right? Which is, it was having David Warner in it that right saved the range, right? So they did one with Sylvester McCoy, but it's having David Warner really saved the range. So here's my suggestion, right, of where they should go from here. I think the next set should be a set talking about the loss of the David Warner Doctor. This very interesting, semi-fictional Doctor, right? And it should be 4 stories dealing with the emotional grieving of it, juxtaposed with adventures, right? So in the first, and you have different Doctors in it. You have first Sylvester McCoy's Doctor, who seemed to be a natural to visit, to want to pay his respects to. Again, this strange semi-fictional Doctor, and also to comfort Bernice. And then you'll also, I guess, you'll have the 8th Doctor in another disc. Who would you have for the other 2? It's interesting. I guess Mark Gattis's Master would have to be in one disc. And then I don't know who would you suggest? It'll be nice if you get David Tennant to do one, wouldn't it? That'd be lovely, right? Or Tom Baker, right? Also, I'll tell you who'll be the perfect of that. The 9th Doctor. Get Christopher Eccleston in, right? Because I know Chris has got one coming out with the David Warner Doctor, which will be the last release with this guy, I guess, for the sixth anniversary. That Eccleston talked about it already, that he recorded one, so he has memories of that. I think they'll be able to use that in the performance, right? And again, it's about grieving and respecting, moving forward. I think that'll be and again, you have a bunch of doctors on it, that'll sell it. It'll sell like hotcakes, right? And I think it'll be great, right? I think it'll be absolutely fantastic. So that's what I recommend for the Volume 8. Where do you go from there, right? Where do you go from there? So I was trying to think what doctors work with the, can she hook onto? And there's a couple of options that really I think be really interesting. I would love to see her do a set, maybe more, with the Stephen Noonan First Doctor. Without being patronizing to him, right? I mean, like they both have an understanding of who they are, right? But I think that'd be fascinating, right? I think that'd be and I'd like to see that Doctor get more play, or and then you could do the same thing with Tim Treloar. You could the Third Doctor and do a War Doctor one, right? That'd be with Jonathan Carey. I'd like to see these new, more experimental takes on their Doctor get more airing, and I think clumping them together might actually make it more financially viable. But keep the quality up with this, and it's fantastic. I mean, honestly, this last set knocked down apart. But that's what I think you should be doing with Bernie Summerfield, right? That's totally what I think you should be doing, Bernie Summerfield. Fine, let's have a look at the Paul McGann story. Where is it? It's okay. So essentially, it's like this. According to what we know, I don't like his haircut in this. I do hope in this app they give him a different haircut. Also, that's not his body, right? He apparently had his head photoshopped on someone's body because he couldn't be there at the time, or something like that. Which is probably why the hair looks a bit funny. But yeah, what's going on is this. So part number one of this is when Rusty Davies was first talking about what Doctor Who should be. And this is before, I think, this was a good 6 to 8 months before, it's when It's a Sin was coming out, which I think was the Christmas, it was the year before it became a possibility. Or maybe it was right after. I really don't know, right? Where It's a Sin was coming out, and it's talking about Doctor Who. Said, "Oh, Doctor Who! It should be on Disney Plus with 100 spin-off adventures. And this adventure you should have a 10-part season with David Tennant and Matt Smith teaming up, right?" So that was his initial idea. He was actually pitching what he would be doing with Doctor Who, right? Little knowing that seems to be exactly what he's planning on doing with Doctor Who, right? So he's up for previous Doctors. So interestingly, because you would be like, if it was a weaker writer, right, and who was less confident in their Doctor, I think he has so much confidence in shooting, like they would be worried that another Doctor series would detract, right, from the current Doctor. I don't think so. And honestly, I hope somehow, some way, this works out. This actually happens. This works out, and Capaldi gets talked around. I hope so. That'd be fantastic, because we were robbed. We were robbed of 2 years of Capaldi. We actually deserve more, right? And he's not even coming back and doing audios. It's tragic, right? It's genuinely tragic, because he was such an incredible Doctor. And there's no one there in the world who can do it. I'm sorry, right? It's like it's such an incredibly layered performance, because he's one of the greatest actors alive. Of course, you're not going to be able to replicate that easily. But anyway, I digress. Paul McGann. So we know that this is something Rusty Davies is indeed up for, because that's how you know when somebody's telling the truth, when they're talking off the cuff, when they don't know somebody's watching. You know why I know he has to come back? Because before Jodie Whittaker started, right, I did a video about this. He was doing an interview on radio, and he said, it'll be terrible if Jodie fails, right? It's going to damage my legacy. going to damage Billy Piper's legacy and David Tennant's legacy, right? It'll be absolutely terrible if it fails. And so I think that he was telling the truth, because people tell the truth when they don't know they're telling the truth, right? When no one's looking. So we know. I think he's up for that. One. Two, we know that the reason David Tennant happened and Catherine Tate happened was because of the internet. Because internet buzz, essentially. They had fun, and they said, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun to do that again?" And then, yes, let's do it. Hey, right? And I think that's basically what it was. Right? I think in the same way, I think Russell Davies is very connected to the internet, very connected to fandom, very connected to the pulse of the nation. Right? I think that's his strength, and I really do think that that's his strength. Right? That's why I'm very optimistic for what he's going to do. But I think he's very, very connected to that audience. If he is going to do another Doctor spin-off, Paul McGann is the one to go for, and the internet buzz is for that. So let's have a quick read of this article. Fans overwhelmingly said they want a new show centered around McGann's Eighth Doctor, but it's true when asked about potential Doctor Who spin-offs, and I bet you they were looking, right? Ever since announced Russell Davies was returning as Doctor Who showrunner, talk of potential spin-offs abounded. I think the Ace one is pretty darn likely. David did, after all, previously stress his interest in doing a Marvel-style universe. I mean, he did it beforehand, right? This talk was only further fueled by news of the BBC deal with Disney Plus for an international rights, was suggesting that the series could get $100 million budget. Yeah, I mean, yes. So yes, all these are pieces in this puzzle. A source recently told the site broadcast that a spin-off could be on the way, as their sense was the deal was to investment to fully exploit the franchise and bolster BBC coffers. And Disney is desperate for a success, and don't think they're not. Disney is absolutely desperate for a success. Therefore, we put it to fans: what spin-off would they most like to see in a new series in the Universe be on the way? I mean, a Dalek one is also pretty much a no-brainer, isn't it? I hope they give that to Nick Briggs. The response came thick and fast. And fans overwhelmingly said they would like to see a new series of Paul McGann. Eighth Doctor Missing Adventures is about time. I do agree. McGann's Eighth Doctor famously had a long history of Big Finish audio dramas, but only appeared 3 times. Once in his own TV movie, once in the 50th anniversary Short Night of the Doctor, and most recently a cameo appearance alongside the classic Doctor and Power of the Doctor. I forgot about the third one, which I just saw. Right, and he made a big impact on fans. With one of saying, Eighth Doctor Missing Adventures, it's about time. It really is. Listen, I'm afraid India Fisher, that bonus cell, darling. Too many kids down the road. You can't. You are not the svelte, sexy Charlie. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is, darling. Another man said they would want anything that starts Paul McGann as Eighth Doctor. What third said, give us the promised 1996. A proper series of McGann. I mean, maybe a 6-part story, a 4-part story, something like that would be awesome. Like, wouldn't that be great? Oh man, it'd be so good. And they could do more than one in production at once. And they could. Oh man, okay. Fan casting here. Toby Whithouse doing a Halloween spooky one, right? Oh, 3-parter with Capaldi. Okay. Oh, Nerdgasm. Oh, the surge. I feel my mail-in ballot. Amongst the many responses calling for McGann's return, there are other suggestions. One fan called for River Song Adventures in Time. No. And I mean, it's not bad, but no. Missy could be a spec. Missy was good, actually. So said it. Clara Ash's dear. No. Doctor's Daughter, Jenny, Joe Jones, Torchwood Revival. No. Okay, the McGann one's the one to go for, mate. The McGann one is the one to go for. Fine. Let's speak of the one to go for. Let's go and look at this next. Where is it? There you go. Doink. Okay. Lovey meets Lovey. So Chris Lovey. Yes, Nick Lovey. Lovey. Is that a bad thing to say? To call actors love? They're very lovey-ish. Although I am actually interested in Nick Briggs' interview Chris Eccleston, which is why we're here. There we go. Doink.
I just wanted to say, first of all, that a few months ago, I had a great time directing you. And part of my job at Big Finish is to sort of, I suppose, be in charge of our...
Okay, this sounds very, very, very sexual to me. I had a good time directing you. Norm MacDonald. Oh, blessed memory. Part is his special on Netflix is very, very good. Where he talks about the waiter, like, so he's asking you for dessert. Can I tempt you with dessert? I really tempt me. Would you like something? Do you have room in your belly? I was like, what? Would you like to put something in your mouth? Are we still talking about dessert? Please. 20 minutes later, you're blowing the waiter in the bathroom. I don't know how I got there, but I think you try to fool me into something. I'm a man of my word. I'll finish it. Goes, Anyway, no, I'm not saying that's going on in this interview. Let's continue.
Allocating people to work on different projects. And I'm really pleased that everyone who's worked with you has had such a fantastic time. Well, thank you. So
by the way, I really want to give a plug to also, I think it's Helen Goldwyn. I think Helen Goldwyn is the like the creative director of the hair. I'm just looking at right now. Ninth Doctor. Where is it? He's in the new series. Okay, Ninth Doctor. I think Helen Goldwyn is like the creative director of the range. And that range has a very like a distinct I'm just looking at right now, has a very distinct feeling to it, right? It's Helen Goldwyn, right? She's the director, and fine, Helen Goldwyn, right? So of this range, it really does have a very distinct feeling. It's like the Bernie Sandfield range. It's slightly feminine, which really works for the Ninth Doctor, right? Who's got a bit of a jagged wound, right? Like internal wound. But anyway.
Well, I've had a fantastic time too.
Now, here are the questions.
Okay, Nick, we know. Don't big it up, mate. Okay.
How did you originally get into acting?
I think I did a play at Eccles College. I was resitting my O-levels at Eccles College, and the school I'd been to before then was a little bit rougher, and the sixth form environment was
a little bit rougher. Listen, they only took the three of the students of my schoolmates' heads. Yeah. Other than that, it was a little rough. Kind of want to know.
Not as rough, and so I kind of
only needed one knife. Only a switchblade. Didn't hardly had to bring it out. Only killed 3 people.
Became a bigger character, and the drama teacher said to me, I was messing about in the communal area. He said, well, if you're going to do that, you might as well come in here and do this play. So he put me in a play, and I remember
that's great. See, we don't get teachers like that anymore. I mean, I do where I am because we're like in Israel, the education is excellent, right? Whatever type of kid you are, you can find a school. I mean, the basic schools are fine, but if you have if you're not in the average, right? If you're in the top or the bottom, or you just have a different way of learning, there's a school for you. Like my son, he found himself this vocational high school. Right, they would get up in the morning at like 5 in the morning and go and pray, and then work in the fields in greenhouses, and then they would do like their education in the afternoon. And it was great. It changed his life. It was fantastic because he was outdoors. It was using his hand, and it made a man of him. It so made a man of him. I'm so proud of the person he is now. right? And he found it himself. But you can't, like my daughter needed a very specific environment, and now she's, you know, everybody has blossomed. You know, we see it so much now because, like, the generation my kids are, they're all basically morons, right? They're all basically entitled morons who don't want to do any work. So I'm very happy all my kids have a work ethic, right? But I have no idea how I got onto that.
To wear mascara. I thought about this question. And I think it's because I enjoyed wearing mascara. I became an actor. Anyway, so I did that play.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing you keep to yourself, mate.
And then I really didn't know what I was going to do. And my mum told me about a foundation course in drama, A-level drama. I was taking it semi-seriously, but I was like most students, you know, I was pleasure-seeking.
I mean, like, can you just look back happily? Oh, pleasure-seeking. Yeah, it's not such a bad thing, mate. You might get some.
And while I was there, somebody mentioned London and drama schools. So it was that, really. It was Manchester, Salford in 1981, not the Manchester we know now, you know, post.
I don't know Manchester.
Industrial, 2 years into Thatcher. Everybody wants to live in Manchester now. Then everybody wanted to get out. And I wanted to get out. I wanted to avoid, with respect, what my mum and dad had done and my brothers, which was a 9 to 5. So it wasn't really any great passion to be an actor. It was just an escape. So I managed to get myself into a drama school, Central School of Speech and Drama. And I started there. I left home. Nobody had ever left home. You know, none of our lot.
Hey, so basically saying I had no passion to act at all. I just wanted to get out. Okay, this sounds like my uncle's first marriage. Okay, yeah, he came out more successful than that, obviously, but it sounds about the same.
I'd ever been an actor. Nobody had, you know, my mum, my dad, both my brothers are living within 10 miles of where they were born. And I went to London and did 3 years at a drama school. And I think it was only when I got to drama school that I thought I better take this seriously. And then when I came out of drama school, I had 3 years unemployment, did a variety of jobs, thought it had gone. And then I got going somehow.
It's quite difficult to know when...
Whew, blimey. Oh, so it could always be worse then. Bloody hell. Okay. Did you have any laughs on the way? No. None at all. No laughs. Okay.
When you feel you have permission to get out there and perform, because if you've got no experience of that happening in your life in any other way.
We were asked to read Henry V, and the English teacher, very good English teacher, and we gave her a nightmare. We plagued her. Mrs. Morris, she was a very good teacher. She read Henry V, and she allocated parts, and she gave me Llewellyn, and I attempted a Welsh accent. I was a kid. And my attempts, and he's also a comic character, my attempts at the Welsh accent made the class laugh. And I remember enjoying that. But I think a lot of my...
I remember a vague recollection of happiness and pleasure. I can't relate to it now. Oh, next question, Nick.
Exhibitionism was rooted in football. All the footballers I loved, George Best, Cruyff, were very creative, very left brain.
I've never seen that in footballer. Right, I just see them kick balls around.
Almost like dancers, and I played a lot of football, and football is a spectator sport. So, and I still feel that now when I go on a set or I go on a stage, I feel like I'm running out onto the pitch.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it, when you're playing a leading character as well? It's sort
You mean your adrenaline's up? That's good. That's good.
of, it's sort of down to you to dictate the mood of the production, isn't it? Because everyone looks to you.
Yeah, very important. And interestingly, when I played football, I was a central midfielder, and they tend to run the game. You're a forward and you're a defender. You know, it's all from that central area. And spatial awareness on stage and on sets all came to me from football. That was...
He's boring, but in a very different way to Chibnall. Chibnall's boring because I don't know how he always just seems so bored, like so vacant. Everything he's saying is just like so like devoid of like then we on a production diary we then wrote down number 14. And these are all like really boring details. Now, Chris Eccleston is boring in a whole different way. It's like I guess because he thinks about the minutiae of his craft and his life, and it's just like tomorrow, dude, you're looking at your fingernails. Oh, yeah, let's keep going.
My dream was to be a footballer, but I was.
My dream was to be a footballer. Fuck this acting shit. No.
I was nowhere near good enough, so I found another way to show off and express myself.
Who made a difference?
So acting was number 2 to being a football player because he was shit at playing football. Okay.
Difference in your early career?
Philida Lloyd. Definitely Philida Lloyd, who went on to be...
I have no idea. No idea.
Be very well known for directing, I think it's called The Iron Lady, the film about Thatcher. And she also...
If that's the Meryl Streep one, that's a good bloody movie.
Was the original director and conceived Mamma Mia, which became a stage phenomenon. Philida.
Blimey, he can say anything that's got pep to it, right? That's exciting and bring it down. Like no one's ever said Mamma Mia without it being like joyful before, right? And it's breaking new ground. And don't get me wrong, I love his doctor. I'm sorry, just like cheer up. Oh, I wish I had a little stick with a feather on it I could tickle him with.
Came to see us at drama school. We had a thing called speeches, where you present a Shakespeare speech, a classical speech, and a contemporary speech. But in 1989, somebody said to her, Chris Eccleston still hasn't got an equity card.
Which is a big thing then, wasn't it?
It's a catch-22 situation.
I mean, look, this is just kind of like, minutiae. Fine, so you had to get an equity card.
You needed an equity card to work, but in order to get an equity card, you had to work. She waited, and as soon as I had an equity card, she gave me a job in a theatre. And she then followed that up by giving me another job a year later.
That's nice. And
she'd remembered me from the speeches in 86. So that was in 89.
She must have seen something in you then. Sort of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I
think we could say the man comes alive with the script. I swear, give him a script. He can be quite upbeat. Like, realize the dude. Oh, man.
You can imagine where my confidence was after 3 years. A lot of my mates had got off to a flyer, but I came out, even though I had the best casting in the third year. I got great roles, but no agent chose me. Nobody picked me up, which at the time I felt was entirely justified because I didn't think I was much cop. I never have. It's just not the way I am.
Whew.
So I was...
Okay. Russell, can you just sit with Christopher for a bit, okay? Something great about Russell Davies is how he will say he's brilliant, right? Without flinching, always like they don't know, I'm marvelous, right? I remember in Doctor Who magazine, he did when he was just taking over Doctor Who, where he did a column about like an article all about his work, and he would have given himself the Russell rateometer, right? It used to be Gary Russell's rateometer for the books. The reviews. He gave everything he did like 5 stars out of 5. He said you should learn from that, right? Always say you're the best. I think always aspire to be that.
I thought it was over, really. I thought I was going to gravitate into stage management and working on the crew, which is what I was.
Woo! Really? Next thing you can tell me how you ran away from the circus to become a office worker.
Was doing, because after 3 years after leaving a prestigious drama school, you haven't got anywhere, and it's good this for people watching it because it's not necessarily over. And within 2 years of doing 2 very small parts in repertory, I was given the lead in a feature film. I went, and I don't say this with any pride, it's just an observation. I went from being the least successful person in my year to the most successful.
Shows how luck can...
Looks massive. And the role that I played, Derek Bentley in Let Him Have It, was turned down by another actor who looked far more like Derek Bentley than I did.
Oh, he was very good in that, right? Yeah, listen. Somebody threw him the ball, he ran with it. Good for him. Good for him.
But I think he had a lot of choice at the time, so he turned it down. Look, I think you get that bit of
look. No, wasn't any talent. Wasn't divine, right? Just look. Meaningless. Aye, we're all meaningless. Okay. Jesus, Chris.
Look, and then you have to work very hard to make it work for you.
Well, and I think when you've got a lack of, like I have when I came out of drama school, I think we were chatting the other day and I said I just fell off a cliff. And then you lose any confidence. You don't think you have permission to do anything.
I went to an audition for a theatre director. I won't name him. And
Nick, your doctor was awesome on audio visuals. What year were you doing that?
I thought he'd said it very kindly, but I did an audition and afterwards he chatted to me and he said, "How are you feeling?" And he said, "I think you might want to start thinking about doing something else." And
Whoa, that's a bad audition.
I was obviously completely lacking in confidence.
That self-belief, isn't it? It's quite a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Which actors did you admire as a youngster?
James Cagney, and Patrick McGowan.
Oh.
I can see Patrick McGowan. Oh, wouldn't he be good in The Prisoner? Wow. If you ever wanted to redo The Prisoner, I mean, you have to have a good script. Get Grant Morrison to Christopher Eccleston. I mean, really upset me. They had so many of the elements for the revival they did about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, with what's his name, Magneto, Gandalf, whatever his name is, James Cazeel, who's vanished from sight. It had so many of the elements right, and it just wasn't very good, sadly. Right, but yeah, Chris Eccleston, I could see him do A Prisoner. Wow.
Well, and Gene Kelly. I used to try and dance like Gene Kelly on the oilcloth in the kitchen, and I remember seeing Jimmy Cagney doing two films. I think it's Angels with Dirty Faces.
I knew he was going to say that. Okay.
Where he plays a gangster who is a hero to a load of kids, and there's a priest in it, and he's forever dealing with the kids, saying, "Don't do what I did. Don't be like me."
Oh God, yeah, I related to his regret and his basic misery in life.
So he's got a good side to him, and at the end of the film, he goes to the electric chair, and
God, stop!
I think the priest says something to him about, these kids are going to be reading the newspapers about how you went to your death, and he's a tough guy. So you think he's going to go to his death defiantly, and the camera's on him. It's brilliant, this, because it's about acting and performance.
Connected to the real core hatred of it.
As I remember it really fascinated me, this, as a child. The camera's on him and you think he's going to be a tough guy, he's going to be a tough guy. And then suddenly he breaks down and starts screaming and crying and begging for his life. And the kids read it. And I think they're disappointed in him. And the thing about it is, as a viewer, you're going, was he really scared? Or was he doing that for the kids so they won't follow his example? Because he'd have been heroic to them if he'd have gone as a tough guy. So there's a performative element to it.
Yeah, we get it. I did, but whew, man, never invite Chris Eccleston to a dinner party unless you want all the air taken out of the room. Whoa, let's keep going.
The ambiguity. I didn't know whether he'd done it on purpose. I've never forgotten that. And then, of course, I'd see him in, I think it was White Heat. He seemed very real, top of the world, playing these gangsters.
I'm trying to forget it right now.
And then he'd be a dancer as well. And I think he felt very European, Cagney, to me. I know he's an American, but there's a kind of Irish energy to it. And he a bit like McGowan, another Celt. You felt like they almost broke through the screen
Yeah.
They were very unpredictable. And I think going with that, I think when I was 20, I had a job at the National Theatre.
I said, sorry, I'll take a break. Oh my God, it's like taking out this Delta ray. Oh God, okay, so you had a job at the National Theatre, fine.
As an usher, I was at drama school.
As an usher, okay.
And I saw Anthony Hopkins on stage in a show called Pravda, and that changed everything for me.
I saw Anthony Hopkins on stage in the National Theatre, in Butterfly. Freaking incredible.
Because I hadn't really located myself. I thought actors had to be like Jeremy Irons or Anthony Andrews. And then I saw Hopkins on stage. And it felt like he was going to jump off the stage and punch somebody or leave. And I read about him, and, you know, he was a baker's son from Port Talbot, you know, my kind of background. But what he did on stage, his presence on stage, I've never seen anything as exciting as that in Pravda, ever.
I think those actors have all got something in common. They don't seem to have anything about them that needs to be loved.
Yeah, that's true. I've always, and I've played a lot.
Oh, I remember their freedom.
A character, you know, it's that thing, if the audience are so intelligent, you don't have to beg for mercy. You don't have to, you know, they do, just tell the truth. The audience will find some humanity in you, but not afraid to be unsympathetic. Yeah, I like that. Real.
Yeah.
Real. I mean, you know, in my background, that's what
Certainly not charming in any way.
You're looking for. And Scorsese's films, Mean Streets, the early ones, that's what you recognise. It's an energy as well. Hopkins had an energy on stage that I kind of equated with my background of football, and there was something untamed about it, not led by the head, from the heart and the gut, and very physical. So it made it like sport. So I thought, okay, I can do it. It made it.
I mean, listen, I've been taking the piss, but he's a very what's the word I'm thinking of? Guttural actor, like very, very instinctive actor, right? Like very much in tune with, I think, his own body. You know, and we could just. Okay, Rabbi, we can just stare at your chair. We'll stay. We promise. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of things to say. But no, he is a very what's the word? I think in like connected to who he is as a human being, or as a physical being, right? I think that's what he is. He's very connected to his own physicality. Man, look, Chris, mate, I have to tell you this. I think if you go to church or something, you'll be happier. Right, that's what I think. I think if you just go to church, even if you don't believe it, I don't think you'll be happier. Right, and look, it's not really like it's my team, the church, you know, but I think you'll be happier.
Editorial rather than of the head.
Well, we mentioned, you said that if you hadn't been an actor, you might have gone into football. Is that anything?
Yeah, I would have, but I was never good enough. And without acting, what would I have done? I mean, I'd probably been some kind of labourer, I think. Maybe my brother was a builder, my other brother was an upholsterer. I might have worked for them.
I would have been cleaning out the monkey testicles. That's what I would have been. Oh, yes, I've been shoveling the goat shit. Oh, and I would have been grateful for that. Hey, when I was a lad, we used to dream of shoveling the goat shit. Never thought things would ever be that good. Really, Chris? Oh, no. Let me just go stand in the corner now. God. Face in the corner. Can you turn the light off? Chris, it's okay. No, just turn the light off. I'm not worth it.
I really don't know. I thought vaguely about journalism at one point.
I thought about working on Suicide Hotline. It didn't work out well. They called it Living Sunday. I love a bit of Red Dwarf.
Something about the truth.
What about writing in general?
Well, I mean, writing's my obsession. I read about the writing process all the time. I'm fiercely protective of my writers on set. But I've never done it. I've never attempted it. I don't think I have the personality to sit alone. But that is definitely the thread of my career was I was a voracious reader as a child. All the television I watched.
That's really fascinating, actually. Again, voracious reader doesn't want to be a writer. That's really, really fascinating. It's it seems like just put it on the paper. I'll read it and then we'll go home. I don't want to do more than that. Okay.
In the 60s, 70s, and 80s was the hugely writer-led. The writer was the most important thing, as well as the cast list. You always knew that it was Potter or Bleasdale or Jim Allen. You always knew who'd written it, and that was amplified at drama school because.
That is true. We don't really have so many superstars. I mean, basically Rusty Davis and what's his name? Macario, Jed Macario, the guy who does Line of Duty. They're the only two like superstar writers I could think of. I guess what's his name? Fellows, the guy who did Downton Abbey. Yeah. I'm talking like in the British. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think there are many.
It was a theatre training, so you train with Shakespeare or Ibsen and Chekhov.
That's an interesting thing of working with you. I work with a lot of actors, and quite a
I'm finding Nick so much more interesting. I'm sorry, Nick, you're so much more personal, mate.
large number of them want to change the script.
Yeah.
And you didn't, and you knew I was the writer when I was directing you, but you didn't want to change the script at all. And occasionally I'd say, I don't think this line is serving us well, so I'd like to alter it. And you'd always be very much sort of, well, if you're sure, it's not, you were kind of saying it's up to you because I don't want to force this on you.
Yeah, I think writers can be, they're quite vulnerable, and having lived in Hollywood and seen how bottom of the food chain they are. I mean,
yeah, he hated living in Hollywood.
Europe, certainly in the UK, they're further up the food chain. But in the time I've been in the industry, I've seen a change. It used to be, what do the writers want to write about? And now it's about what role does X, Y, or Z want to play? And that way madness lies. Because...
Too bad. We're way past madness, okay? We can't tell boys are boys and girls are girls anymore. Madness? We left madness years ago. Oh, we're in uncharted territory, mate. Yeah, that way madness does lie, where there's no bloody, stability in anything.
Actors are only good because of their scripts. And it creates chaos if the lead actor starts going, oh, I'll just change this and I'll just change that. Well, first of all, you're not a writer. You haven't spent a year thinking of that line. And if you start doing it, what's the prop man going to do? What's everybody else going to...
I
mean, tweet.
Understand the bloody land. Writers write, actors act, directors direct. Oh, prop men, we're all the same. Just do your job.
Absolutely. But it's always about asking permission.
When did you first think I've made it as an actor? This is my career now.
I think I have to let him have it.
Mate, you're a bit early. I would say after Cracker.
Still not convinced it's my career. My career has been about trying to be an actor for 40 years. And I will continue trying to be an actor if I can get a job.
Oh, bloody hell, Chrissy, mate. Chris. It's going to be okay. You don't have to be this down, mate.
Unless you're in the top 10%, you don't know where the next job's coming from.
Well, I mean, I think that, you're a known name, your track record is proven.
You're like, what the hell are you talking about, you miserable prick? No, you're going to get, I wouldn't worry. I think you're still employable. Oh, I could just be the prop person, Oh, I've just got to stand in the corner again. No, Chris, come back. No, put the bag on my head. No, Chris, not the bag on the head. Yes, put the bag on my head. It's all I'm worth. Bag on my head. Oh, I should pay for me bag. No, Chris, it's okay. Come sit down. Okay. We'll come back.
That people think, oh, I think we might get Chris Eccleston to do that. I think
but it doesn't happen all the time. You see that?
Oh, Chris, no. Things aren't so bad. God. Oh my God, world. You have been so much better than most actors in the world.
It's the perception I have with the public.
You know, my solution was diversification when I could tell.
Smart. I wish I'd have thought of that. I think there's a thing about being an actor. You're always waiting for the phone ring to ring, and you're always dependent on others. And
just breathe, mate. You're such a successful actor. Like, you can go on touring on the stage or like far more stupid pricks than you can make a bloody living at, and you'll be fine. Like Terry Malloy, and I like Terry Malloy, it can make a living, so can bloody you.
We should have addressed that at an earlier age and had a few more strings to my bow.
I do sometimes look, I haven't looked at you in this way, I have to say, but I do sometimes look at casts I work with and hear the chat in the green room, and I feel sorry for them, because I think, well, I would hate to be in your position, and luckily...
waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah. Here's some general philosophical questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued. I'll answer them too.
What is your favourite virtue?
Honesty. Yeah.
Interesting. I kind of agree with you. Honesty. Everything stems from honesty. I have to say, dependability, loyalty. I think that's where I think he really pulls it. He shines.
There's no substitute for it.
No.
And yet isn't it almost impossible to be honest all the time?
I've tried.
No, just miserable.
It's lost me a lot of jobs. Yeah, it is, of course.
People don't want to hear it a lot of the time, do they, really?
Well, but as a core, when it comes to it, I have friends who will say, no, you're out of order.
Yeah. Those
are the people who I keep closest.
Yeah.
What you're good to realise is that you're just the tip of an iceberg, which is why,
you can see, okay, Chris, mate, you can see your own, strength and potential and, value.
I always know. I'm only there because of a writer.
Yeah.
Not because of a
Dude, no.
Producer or director. I'm there because of the writer. So that's,
What are your favourite qualities in other people, in a person?
Well, it'd be honesty, again, sense of humour.
Oh, yeah, it's good. One of you's going to bloody need that.
Irreverence.
Again, one of you would need that.
Bravery, which is the same thing, really, especially in our industry, if
Irreverence is bravery. I agree with you.
Actors are very fearful of losing work, aren't they, by
you bloody are.
Saying what they think, but they're usually the best actors when you see
them. But your industry is full of absolute cunts. I'm sorry that you will lose work for saying anything.
Them on camera because they've held on to themselves. They've not sold themselves for the job. I think you get the camera on and go, all right.
The honesty thing is so important because people think it's all about size of performance and intensity. It's not. As long as it's true,
truthful,
it's detectable, isn't it? The truth the camera's a bit of a lie detector, like the microphone as well. This is actually good stuff. You've got to believe that. Yeah, this is why I think Jodie Whittaker didn't work as Doctor Who. I don't think she ever believed that the character was real. Right? You've got to be able to play out the character, and I don't think she ever could.
And like the audience are in a theatre, I've always been, like most actors, seized on the negative things that are said about me rather than the positive things in a review or
one bad review.
But
okay, Chris, mate. Okay, this is what you got to do every day. Firstly, go to church. That's the first. I think you'll be happier doing that, right? Find a church you like. I really do think that having that spiritual component to your life will make your life better, right? But secondly, dude, you've really got to spend, I would say, spend a minute a day, and just that, a minute a day, thinking of why you're awesome, because you are awesome, right? Dude. Again, a minute a day thinking of why you're awesome.
In the end, as an actor, you have to be self-sustaining. In the end, you have to be just do it for yourself. I mean, what you do is if you get a load of good reviews or you get a nomination, what I've always done, a nomination or good reviews, I personally just look at it and go, that might mean I'll get another job.
Yeah.
That might.
Blimey, can you not just say I did what people like? Job well done. I have more self-worth. I'm a better. No.
I put money in my pocket. Any praise, I just think, doesn't matter. It's like you're running a business, and if somebody says you're a great builder, you stick it on the side of the. I can see the pragmatism in that. What I can tell you is, and I've been nominated and I've been praised, and I've also been slagged off mercilessly. It doesn't change my idea of me as an actor, but it changes my idea of me as a business model, because you're running a business. Yeah. They all read that.
Yeah, I know, but you can have a laugh while you're on a business too, right? It doesn't have to be miserable.
Fine. Different.
I mean, crack a smile more. I mean, like you say, you like a sense of humor. Crack a smile a little bit more. You might have a better business.
Just what they're thinking. Make him pay the mortgage.
I mean, look, it looks like he's better thumpnick. Bloody hell.
What's your favourite job performance you've been in?
Trying and failing with Macbeth and Hamlet. I think I felt.
Oh my God, trying and failing. Really? Maybe you weren't that bad, Chris. I didn't see you in either. Maybe you didn't suck.
Most engaged in my working life. Playing Hamlet at the West Yorkshire Playhouse as it was then. It's now the Leeds Playhouse again, which is great. In 2004, and then Macbeth. Being on stage is as exciting.
Right, wasn't your Macbeth like really famously good? Tell you, better than this interview.
Exciting as it gets for me. Personal favourites with television: Hillsborough.
I'll let him.
I think I did
Builder too.
Again, written by Jimmy McGovern. Called Hearts and Minds, where I played Jimmy's.
Hillsborough. Yeah, of course you'll want to go to Hillsborough. They're the most miserable thing in the history of the country.
It was a version of Jimmy's life as a teacher. I connected with that very fiercely. It was a show I did on Channel 4, and it was my first lead role on television. But I've been very fortunate. I've done a lot. Our Friends in the North, I've done a lot, all with great writers. It's all about the Jimmy McGovern,
I'm not going to try and write myself, but no, they're all great writers. Okay.
Peter Flannery, Russell T Davies, Pete Bowker. I've worked with very good writers, and they've made me look good.
I very much enjoyed your Macbeth.
Thank you. You're lucky I didn't fall on you. I fell off the stage in the third preview right into the audience.
Yeah. How did you recover?
I just got back up, but as I got back up on the stage, I ripped all the muscles, my intercostal muscles in my back. Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, really? Okay, Chris, can we have a story of something good happening to you?
Yeah.
Did you go on?
And that's a good actor story, because the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a great story. Yeah, when I ripped all my intercostal muscle. Yeah, we all sit around laughing about when we rip all our intercostal muscles. That's just laugh a bloody minute, mate.
My life, my career, the one thing I wanted to do more than anything was play Macbeth at the Royal Shakespeare Company. That's what I wanted to do. For some reason, I thought
all right, but you did that.
That was it. And I fell off the stage.
Did you have to go off after you?
No, I carried on.
Oh, yeah, I was in agony, but carried on, mate. Oh, yeah, it's like, really? Wow. Okay, Chris, we're fighting through it, mate.
I did about 30 shows on painkillers. Yeah.
What's your favourite performance you've seen recently?
I can't think of one recently, but my favourite...
Oh, they're all shit now.
...performance I've ever seen was Hopkins. I have to stick with that. Nothing's has impressed me more than Anthony Hopkins as Lambert LaRue in the National Theatre production of Pravda, directed by David Hare and...
no, nothing anybody will ever see or relate to.
Written by David Hare and Howard Brenton. I'm not a great watcher of drama. I watch documentaries a lot.
Yeah, especially depressing ones.
It's busman's holiday for me. I find it, I know how it's done. I love documentary.
I was just thinking Albert Finney. I saw Albert Finney twice. I saw him in Art.
Oh, you saw him on stage?
Yeah. And he was remarkable.
Oh, I've seen him on stage.
I watched him from the Gods in Art. And he was the only member. I think it's only 3 people in Art, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And he was the only member of the cast. Everyone was great, Tom Courtenay and Ken Stott. But but he was the only one who made sure he lifted his head quite a lot to give us a performance. Then I saw him the opposite, or I think I'd seen this before, in the Beco.
Again, Nick is so much more bloody interesting, okay? And animated and connect. Okay, Nick, what are we watching next, Nick?
Inquest at the Riverside, and I was sitting as close to him as I am to you now. And he was just acting the whole time as the lawyer there, and puffing and wheezing and getting documents out of his jacket. It was just, I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, he's trained old school, wasn't he? He's like Hopkins. They kind of learnt their craft on a big stage.
Yeah. What's your idea of happiness?
God, I said, really? Oh, for it to be over.
Being with Albert and Esme, my children.
That's easy, isn't it? Yeah.
I've never been happier. Never been happier. In anything I've
You didn't say. You can basically, I've never been happy.
ever done. Watching those two play, watching those two interact, looking after them, amazing.
Man, that is a downer. Whew. That was just a downer. I was gonna make that. Oh no, go away! I hate the this thing. I was gonna download that, and make a video, but what it's it's so depressing. I don't want to be taking the piss out of that. God, really, Nick? Man. Oh. Okay, one sec. Let's have a look at this. Oh, there's actually a couple of stories I really wanted to get to. Hang on, there's two over here. Okay, so we're gonna let's have a quick look at Bowding. Oh, dang, hang on. Just close that window. Let's have a quick look at Bowding into comics. There are a couple of stories I want to. I'm gonna go a little bit longer than normal. There we go. Share screen. Look, is it opening yet? Okay, fine. But can we get some graphics there? YouTube, according to Michelle, reports TikTok censored her video criticizing Black Panther Wakanda Forever as feminist propaganda. Well, okay, stay away from that then. Paul Choder declares the MCU kind of ruined everything. Okay, Aquaman actor Jason Momoa excitedly teases secret project that may be DC related. Oh. Wonder what that'll be. Yeah, does it do we have any hints? Reverse some as Maestro. This could be a few important blah blah blah. YouTube DC Scuba Citadel said the money lately with executive has guesses of his own and discussed the recent video of Momona's clout. But what did he say? Who Mastro is, but the two prime suspects from her circle are a photographer he once called that or Zack Snyder. So he's doing a thing. He might do a Zack Snyder movie. Okay, that's really okay. Fine, whatever. I'm not that interested to go hunting for it. I don't think there is an answer. Black Panther got a 3. I'm pretty impressed. Disney CEO Bob Chapek company undertaking massive cost-cutting measures in wake of poor Q4 financial report. Oh yes. They have gone woke. They have gone broke, and now they're firing everybody. Thank God. No more Margot Robbie, Pirates of the Caribbean. Should have got Karen Gillan, right? After extremely poor viewership ratings, Disney first to push 2 episodes of Andor to ABC, FX, Hulu, and Freeform. Okay, well, that's not going to win anybody over seeing it. It's not very good, right? It's boring, right? Yeah, basically. 10 best Guillermo del Toro films. Who cares? Yeah, Superman Lois maybe going well. I kind of fell out of watching that. Fine, okay. Look at this one first. Neil Gaiman's Misery Explode, decade-long open marriage ends abruptly. There is no such thing as a happy open marriage, okay? There is no such thing as a happy open marriage. There's no, okay. there's no such thing as an open marriage either. I mean, like, happy or not, it's not a marriage, right? It's not. Being a marriage isn't a partnership. Okay, being a marriage is being two parts of one soul, right? The idea of not having fidelity, even with permission, invalidates the idea of marriage, right? And again, why is Neil Gaiman so woke, right? Why do we have to have a Black Death in Sandman, and a Luthien has to be a black woman? Why? It's because Neil Gaiman is completely invested in this woke liberal progressive ideology, which is anti-family, anti-children, anti-life. Anything with biblical values is anti. And the sad, horrible truth is this: happiness lies in a biblical life. I hate to tell you, I've said it a lot. Marriage, children, fidelity, that's where happiness is. And once you throw it off, you're miserable. But yeah, and that's why you double, triple down everything. Neil Gaiman's best-selling fantasy author of Sandman and his single wife, Amanda Palmer, have announced their divorce after the self-proclaimed open marriage fell apart. The couple who have been married for 11 years have previously spoken about their unusual arrangement, insisting that it works for them. Okay, it might work for you, but it's not a marriage, right? I mean, at least when Alan Moore had this weird throuple thing going, didn't he have two wives at one point or something weird like that? I mean, didn't he last forever? But at least that seemed like a committed relationship. I don't know. Look, it's not my business, mate. Look, why do people become smart so they can rationalize having weird sex? Okay, that's essentially why. However, in a joint statement on their respective websites and social media, the couple stated they have now made the difficult decision to divorce. Both parties posted the same thing, post word for word. Okay. After many years of marriage, we have made a difficult decision to divorce. While we no longer will be partners in marriage, we will remain one in one another's lives as co-parents. Oh, God, your kids together. Committed to raising a wonderful son in a loving, compassionate environment. Okay, but there wasn't that. Okay, there is no such thing as a happy, open marriage. Right? There is no such thing as a happy. I don't think there's any such thing as a open marriage, right? We deeply appreciate everyone respecting our family's privacy so we can focus on our son and entering a new chapter of our lives. Like, okay, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. But again, it was so insufferable, the Sandman TV show, right? And the woman they hired to play Death was a very good actress. She could not be the person, the character as it was written. And don't pretend her being black makes no difference, because it obviously does, right? And it's not because black people are inferior and anything stupid like that. It's because how you conceive the character was specifically white. And just changing that one, made everything else kind of fall apart, right? That you had all the Endless had a certain look, apart from Death, weirdly. Now you said, but we had Death being black because, yes, I know Death appears as all the Endless appear as a reflection of the person who views them. Yes, you chose the default position to be a goth girl, right? And you just pretending you don't see any difference when you clearly do, or maybe you don't see the difference because you brainwash yourself. Everything goes back to weird sexual choices, in my opinion. And weird sexual choices will lead to making lots of other weird choices in life. And I think that's what's going on here, right? Because, I hate to tell you, you created the character of Death the way you did for a reason. Same with Lucian, right? And you essentially made them hand-me-downs for black people. Now, Jenna Coleman, I will say, really made the role her own with Constantine. honestly, by changing the jacket, and that was it, right? But that's what they need to do. When they don't make the role their own, they didn't make the role their own, right? And it falls apart, and that's what happened, right? And that's again, the woman who played her was fine. This just comes in the wake of Gaiman's Netflix series, The Sandman, getting a second series, which I'm happy about. This month, despite complaints from longtime fans of comic book series, they said odds are that Neil himself isn't going to answer that question. What's the question? The casting and Neil's attitude towards any criticism of it, yes, is a fascinating way to honor the late Cinnamon Hadley. But this is his creation, making it his prerogative to insult not only her memory, but upset fans, aka toxic fans of Sandman. Yeah, I mean, again, you designed it to be this person for a reason. It's not the casting of the black woman to play her, right? No, it's not that. It's you pretending you don't see any difference. It's so ridiculous, right? If you don't see any difference, you convince yourself many ridiculous things are true, like sleeping with other people is possible while you're married. It isn't. They began dating when was it in 2009? One other punk cabaret duo, the Dresden Dolls, they tied the knot in 2011. Previously, they decided not to be monogamous. Okay, from the beginning of their relationship, but when their son turned from Palmer, said they shut down the open aspect of the marriage for the time being. Oh, so somebody opened up again. Okay, so that's basically what happened, right? Palmer told an interview in 2019, the idea of ever falling around with another person until the end of time has always been terrifying to me. With Neil, too, I think. There are lots of varieties of open relationship. We're not interested in having a big multiple relationships. We're just slutty, but compassionately so. Yay. Gaiman hit the headlines in 2020 after leaving Palmer and their son in New Zealand after lockdown to travel 11,000 miles to his home in the Isle of Skye. He said he and Palmer had found themselves in a rough place before he let. Oh man, it's in lockdown as well. Adding, my fault, I'm afraid. I'd hurt her feelings very badly, and we agreed we need to give each other some space. Okay. Again, there is no such thing as a happy marriage, in my opinion. It's unknown what caused the divorce, but perhaps the difficulty in the marriage became explained some of Gaiman's recent dust up with fans. Could be. Who knows or dares to dream. Okay, final story. Me and Dan disagreed about this. Now it's hit the national press. It's worth talking about. Indie director attacks Doomcock just as the press vindicates him. Yeah, it is kind of strange, isn't it? Doomcock's the one who released the rumor that Indiana Jones was going to be replaced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, essentially. Saying that he's like steps into a hole in time or something left by Indiana Jones. So the guy says, have there been test screenings of Indy 5 yet? Rumors are flying. Some angle says, nope, haven't been any screenings at all. This is in November. That's interesting. That is interesting. And he says, well, Polo, it's up to you who you believe. An anonymous troll named, calling him a troll, I think it's a bit much, named Basement Dweller and Doomcock are the actual director of film. No one will ever replace Indiana Jones, not in any script, not in any cut, never discussed. So he's quite definitive on that, isn't he? Right? He's really saying it very, very. He's very quite clear about it. Somebody got blocked by James Manigault. Okay. I mean, look, it just hit the press. I don't think that really vindicates Doomcock. They heard the story from Doomcock, and it's an interesting story, and it's a believable one, right? That's why it hit the press. Fine with that. I am. I'm hungry. I'm wrapping up. I'm going to get something to eat. I don't know what I'm going to have to eat. I will have to wait and see. I'm going to sign off that. I'm going to put my Instagram in again. Please go follow my Instagram. I'm going to start putting content on there quite a lot. I like the platform. I do like the platform. I'm going to hit the end broadcast button.